Point, Bill, residents of Watertown spent hours Friday inside their homes with the doors locked while police search for the second suspect. Gun rights advocates are already asking how many of those folks would like to have had guns to protect themselves, to protect their families.
I don't know. Maybe many of them would like to have them. I don't think it affects, honestly, this incident affects the case for or against more extensive gun control measures one way or the other. I mean, that's a debate that was had. I think it was won on its merits by the pro-gun advocates.
Congresswoman Harman, you supported gun control when you were in Congress. In fact, you had an F- rating from the NRA. Here was President...
It's my only F- ever.
You earned it. Here was President Obama's angry reaction Wednesday after the gun bill, was voted down in the Senate.
The gun lobby and its allies willfully lied about the bill. They claimed that it would create some sort of big brother gun registry, even though the bill did the opposite. So all in all, this was a pretty shameful day for Washington.
After this week and the vote in the Senate, gun control wasn't going anywhere. But does this sense, this was a big event for America, the sense of increased anxiety about your personal safety, does that make gun control an even steeper climb?
I don't know how much steeper it could be. Let's understand this bill was just about background checks, closing the gun show loophole, something that the NRA used to support. It was really not about reducing the number of guns that people already own or the kinds that they can own or anything like that. So I think what happened was, sadly, this took attention away, diluted the momentum for this bill. Attention was paid elsewhere, and then it lost. But I hope that Rand Paul's efforts, for example, to put on negative ads against Susan Collins, a Republican who had the courage to vote to close the gun show loophole, will be decried by the people of Maine. It makes absolutely no sense for the Republican Party to circle the wagons and fire in, and it makes no sense for our country to make it easier to have weapons in the hands of the wrong people.
Juan, big defeat this week for the president. Doesn't this raise questions that have been raised before about this chief executive's ability to work his will, as we've seen other presidents more successfully do, in getting his legislation, his agenda through Congress?
I'm not sure I agree with the premise that it's a big defeat for President Obama. Clearly something he wanted to happen, Chris. But I think that he had never had it on his agenda until Newtown occurred. And once Newtown happened, there was a sudden shift in terms of the polls, American public opinion. And people said, you know, we need to do something if you can have small children slaughtered in an idyllic community like Newtown, Connecticut. Right now, though, I think the emphasis is, can this Senate work with anybody? I mean, the silent filibuster. You had a clear majority of the senators, 55, who supported this legislation. And as Congresswoman Harman pointed out, this was a compromise legislation. This was no hard line. So the question becomes, should they have not ever focused on assault weapons? Should they have never focused on high-capacity magazines? Did that waste time? And should the president have acted more quickly in the aftermath of Newtown to get this done? Those are all tactical measures. But the thing is, as Harry Reid, the majority leader in the Senate, said this week, when you have 90% of the American people and 80% of Republicans saying, oh yeah, background checks are a good idea, we like that, and the Senate still can't get it done, I think the emphasis should be on the dysfunction in the U.S. Senate. I mean, look at the congressional ratings right now. It's like 79% of Americans say Congress just doesn't work. They don't have that feeling about President Obama.
So, not a big defeat for President Obama?
Of course it's a big defeat for President Obama. He went all around the country, and then on Wednesday night he had a meltdown in the Rose Garden because the senators actually voted the way they thought was the right way to vote, and because he never made the argument. Is there a serious public policy argument for background checks affecting what happened in Newtown or in Tucson or in Aurora, Colorado, or the crime rate? I'm sorry, the parents of Newtown.
We want something done.
I have the greatest sympathy with the parents of Newtown, but they never made a public policy argument for the Mansion 2&E bill. That is just a fact.
I think that the public policy argument is so clear here that we should not have such easy access to guns that people who are mentally incompetent or people who have criminal records or people with any kind of record that would indicate they should not be trusted with a weapon are allowed to get it. And what we see, not only in Newtown, but daily, Bill, in the streets of Washington, D.C., Chicago, New York, is a slaughter because we
Places
won't
with
do
the
anything.
tightest gun control legislation.
Where are the guns coming from? They come from places with lax gun control regulations.